News now from the CBS 42 Washington Bureau. The Transportation Secretary says the FAA will limit flights at 40 airports because of the government shutdown. He says major airports across the country are struggling with air traffic controller shortages. Washington correspondent Vinay Simlot joins us live. And Vinay, so what does this mean to travelers?
Yeah, David, we don't know exactly which 40 of those airports it will be, but it'll start tomorrow, and airlines are warning you could already see delays and cancellations if you're planning on flying out tomorrow or this weekend. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says right now air traffic controllers have missed one full paycheck and are about to miss one more.
Our sole role is to make sure that we keep this airspace as safe as possible.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says passenger safety forced the FAA to make these drastic changes. Airlines will have to cut their traffic by 10% at 40 major airports.
We're going to ask the airlines to work with us collaboratively to reduce their schedules.
The government shutdown, now the longest ever, means air traffic controllers are working but not getting paychecks. Secretary Duffy says that means some are having to find other ways to pay their bills.
We have asked them to show up for work, but I'm not naive.
On Capitol Hill, bipartisan negotiations to reopen the government continue. Democratic leaders in the House and Senate sent a letter to President Donald Trump demanding a meeting.
He needs to get off the sidelines and get in the game.
After Democrats won big in elections across the country on Tuesday, on Wednesday morning, President Trump suggested Americans blame Republicans for the shutdown.
The shutdown was a big factor, negative for the Republicans.
But he says it's up to Senate Democrats to reopen the government.
But it's time for Chuck Schumer and the radical Democrat Congress to stop playing games with the people's lives.
And there are some negotiations happening between senators to try and find an off-ramp and reopen the government. Your senator, Alabama Senator Katie Britt, has been thrown around as somebody who is part of those negotiations. But there is a divide happening between some of the more moderate Democrats who want to find an off-ramp and reopen the government and some of the more progressive Democrats who say that the election results on Tuesday night bolstered their position. That could lead to talks failing to reopen the government.
So, Vinay, President Trump also saying he wants Republicans to get rid of the filibuster to reopen the government. So what does that mean? Help us understand.
Yeah, that filibuster is one of those Senate rules. That's the 60-vote threshold that senators would need to fund the government and reopen the federal government. That idea is not popular among Senate Republicans who say if they become part of the minority, this filibuster would give them the power to block some of the more progressive things that Democrats are trying to push through Congress. Again, the filibuster has been changed in recent years for things like confirming nominees for the executive branch, confirming Supreme Court nominees for tax cuts. But right now it seems that Republicans are not willing to go along with President Trump's idea.
Yeah, John Thune, for one, leading the way there. All right, Vinay Simlot, live in D.C. Thanks so much, Vinay.